Welcome to today's news update. Here are the major headlines you need to know. We're leading with a look at the escalating conflict in Ethiopia. The situation in the northern Tigray region remains incredibly volatile, with reports of new airstrikes raising serious concerns about civilian casualties. We'll break down the latest developments and what it means for the region. But first, let's take a look at the global economic picture. The global economy is facing a perfect storm right now. Inflation is soaring in many parts of the world, fueled by supply chain bottlenecks and surging energy prices. The war in Ukraine has only exacerbated these problems, sending shockwaves through global commodity markets. The International Monetary Fund recently downgraded its global growth forecast for the year, citing the war in Ukraine and the risk of further economic fragmentation. The IMF warned that the conflict could lead to a sharp slowdown in global growth and a dramatic increase in poverty. Central banks around the world are under pressure to tame inflation without triggering a recession. The U.S. Federal Reserve has already begun raising interest rates and other central banks are expected to follow suit. But these rate hikes come with risks of their own. Higher interest rates could make it more expensive for businesses to invest and for consumers to borrow money, potentially slowing economic growth. The situation is particularly precarious in emerging markets and developing economies, many of which are already struggling with high levels of debt. A sharp rise in interest rates could trigger a wave of debt crises in these countries. The bottom line is that the global economy is facing a period of heightened uncertainty. The war in Ukraine, rising inflation, and tightening financial conditions all pose significant risks to growth. Governments and policymakers around the world will need to work together to address these challenges and prevent a global recession. Turning now to the escalating conflict in Ethiopia, where the situation in the Tigray region has taken a dangerous turn. The Ethiopian government launched new airstrikes on the Tigrayan capital, Mekelle, this week, marking a significant escalation in the nearly two-year conflict. These strikes come just days after the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, rejected a government proposal for peace talks. The TPLF has accused the Ethiopian government of using the peace talks as a stalling tactic while they continue to wage war. The Ethiopian government, for its part, claims that the TPLF is refusing to negotiate in good faith. They say the airstrikes were targeting military installations and that they are taking all necessary precautions to avoid civilian casualties. However, aid groups on the ground are painting a very different picture. They say the airstrikes have hit civilian areas, including a residential neighborhood and a market, killing and injuring innocent people. The United Nations has condemned the recent violence and called for an immediate ceasefire. The UN Secretary General has urged all parties to put the interests of the Ethiopian people first and to engage in dialogue to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. But with both sides digging in their heels, the prospects for peace seem increasingly dim. The conflict has already displaced millions of people and created a humanitarian crisis of catastrophic proportions. The international community must do more to pressure all sides to end the violence and allow for unhindered humanitarian access to the region. The people of Tigray have suffered enough. Ethiopia, a country with a rich history and cultural heritage, now finds itself at a crossroads. The ongoing conflict threatens not only the lives of its people but also the very fabric of its society. International diplomats have been working tirelessly to mediate between the warring factions, but progress has been slow. Humanitarian aid continues to trickle into the region, but it is far from sufficient to meet the needs of the displaced and suffering population. The Ethiopian diaspora has also been vocal, organizing protests and calling for an end to the violence. Social media campaigns have brought global attention to the crisis, but tangible action remains elusive. Despite the dire situation, there is still hope. The resilience of the Ethiopian people shines through as they continue to strive for peace and stability. Community leaders and peace activists within Ethiopia are tirelessly working to bridge divides and foster dialogue. Collaborative efforts between international aid organizations and local groups are crucial in providing relief and support. As the world watches, the hope is that Ethiopia can emerge from this turmoil stronger and more united. The resilience and spirit of the Ethiopian people remain unbroken, even in the face of adversity. There is a collective yearning for a new dawn, a future where peace and prosperity can flourish once again in this ancient land. In a major medical breakthrough, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania have developed a new cancer treatment that has shown remarkable results in clinical trials. The treatment, known as CAR T-cell therapy, involves genetically modifying a patient's own immune cells to target and destroy cancer cells. In the trials, patients with advanced leukemia who had exhausted all other treatment options saw their cancer go into complete remission after receiving CAR T-cell therapy. This innovative approach has given new hope to patients who had previously been told that there were no more options available to them. The results were so promising that the Food and Drug Administration has granted the treatment Breakthrough Therapy designation, which will expedite its development and review process. This designation is reserved for treatments that show substantial improvement over existing therapies for serious or life-threatening diseases. While CAR T-cell therapy is still in its early stages of development, it has the potential to revolutionize the way we treat cancer. Unlike traditional chemotherapy and radiation therapy, which can have debilitating side effects, CAR T-cell therapy is a more targeted approach that harnesses the body's own immune system to fight cancer. This means that patients may experience fewer side effects and a better quality of life during treatment. Researchers are now conducting clinical trials to test the effectiveness of CAR T-cell therapy in treating other types of cancer, including lymphoma, myeloma, and solid tumors. These trials are crucial in determining whether CAR T-cell therapy can be a universal treatment for various forms of cancer. If these trials are successful, CAR T-cell therapy could offer new hope to millions of people around the world who are battling cancer. This breakthrough is a testament to the incredible progress being made in the field of medical research. With continued investment and innovation, we can find new and better ways to prevent, diagnose, and treat diseases like cancer, and improve human health for generations to come. The journey to this point has been long and challenging, but the dedication of researchers and the support of the medical community have made these advancements possible. As we look to the future, the hope is that CAR T-cell therapy will become a standard treatment option, providing a lifeline to those in need. The potential impact of this treatment cannot be overstated. It represents a shift towards more personalized and effective cancer care, where treatments are tailored to the individual needs of each patient. This personalized approach not only improves outcomes but also enhances the overall patient experience, making the fight against cancer a little less daunting. The success of CAR T-cell therapy is a beacon of hope, illuminating the path forward in the battle against cancer. With each step, we move closer to a future where cancer is no longer a death sentence, but a manageable condition. The promise of CAR T-cell therapy is a reminder of what can be achieved when science, innovation, and human determination come together for a common cause. The tech industry is facing a wave of antitrust scrutiny, as regulators and lawmakers around the world increasingly question the power and influence of these companies. This scrutiny is not limited to one region but spans across continents, reflecting a global concern about the dominance of these tech behemoths. In the United States, the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission have launched sweeping investigations into the business practices of tech giants like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google. These investigations are part of a broader effort to ensure that these companies are not abusing their market positions to the detriment of consumers and competitors. These investigations are focused on whether these companies have engaged in anti-competitive behavior, such as using their market dominance to stifle competition, favor their own products and services, or collect vast amounts of user data without proper consent. The implications of these practices are far-reaching, potentially affecting everything from consumer choice to data privacy. The European Union has been particularly aggressive in cracking down on anti-competitive behavior by tech companies. European regulators have a history of taking a hard stance on market abuses, and their actions against tech giants are no exception. In recent years, the EU has slapped Google with billions of dollars in fines for antitrust violations, and it is currently investigating Amazon's e-commerce practices and Apple's App Store rules. These fines and investigations are part of a broader strategy to ensure a fair and competitive market environment in the digital age. The growing scrutiny of the tech industry reflects a broader societal debate about the power and influence of these companies. This debate is not just about market competition, but also about the role these companies play in our daily lives and the broader economy. Critics argue that these tech giants have become too big, too powerful, and too unaccountable. They point to instances where these companies have allegedly used their power to crush smaller competitors, manipulate markets, and influence public opinion. They say that these companies are stifling innovation, harming consumers, and undermining democracy. The argument is that when a few companies control vast amounts of data and have significant influence over information flow, it poses a risk to democratic processes and individual freedoms. The tech companies, for their part, argue that they operate in a highly competitive industry, and that their success is the result of innovation and providing consumers with the products and services they want. They claim that their business practices are designed to benefit consumers by offering better products at lower prices. They deny engaging in anti-competitive behavior and say that they comply with all applicable laws and regulations. These companies emphasize their commitment to legal compliance and argue that their business models are built on innovation and consumer satisfaction. The outcome of these antitrust investigations could have major implications for the future of the tech industry. Depending on the findings, we could see significant changes in how these companies operate, potentially reshaping the entire tech landscape. If regulators and lawmakers conclude that these tech giants have engaged in anti-competitive behavior, they could impose a range of penalties, including hefty fines, structural remedies, and even breakups. Such measures could lead to a more competitive market, but they also carry the risk of unintended consequences, such as reduced innovation or disruptions in the services that consumers rely on. As the investigations continue, the world watches closely, aware that the decisions made in these cases will not only affect the companies involved, but also set precedents for the entire tech industry. The balance between regulation and innovation is delicate, and the outcomes of these cases will be pivotal in shaping the future of technology and its role in society. And finally, in the world of sports, an underdog story for the ages. The Insert team name pulled off a stunning upset victory over the heavily favored Insert team name to win the Insert championship name. The Insert team name, who were considered long shots to even make it to the championship, played with heart and determination, overcoming a insert point deficit in the insert quarter period to secure a dramatic victory. The game came down to the wire, with the Insert team name hitting a insert game-winning shot with just insert time remaining left on the clock. The Insert opposing team name had a chance to tie the game at the buzzer, but their insert shot attempt fell short. The victory sparked wild celebrations among Insert team name fans who had waited insert number years for a championship. The team is now set to receive a hero's welcome when they return home. This upset victory is a reminder that anything is possible in sports. It's a testament to the power of hard work, dedication, and believing in yourself, even when no one else does. That's all for today's major headlines. From the volatile situation in Ethiopia to breakthroughs in cancer treatment and the nail-biting finish in the championship game, we've covered it all. We'll continue to monitor these stories and more, bringing you in-depth reporting and analysis you can trust. Stay tuned for more updates, and thank you for watching.